This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza, sliceonbroadway.com. And listeners like you, support this show at patreon.com/awesomecast.
Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
Do the right thing. It's time to get geeky, get awesome. It is the AwesomeCast. I am Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, PA. Ready to get geeky with you. We have the crew with us. First of all, from Studio C in Dormont, PA, he is the Chilla, John Chichilla, joining us here from his Chilla cave.
His underground bunker.
His underground bunker, yes. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
All right. Still adjusting to this new workflow, if you didn't notice live. So, and also with us back again, the Dudders, Katie Dudas, with us again. How you do?
Good. How's everybody doing?
How you do? I can't complete like words right now. What is happening?
How you doing?
How you do? How you do? So,
I do. How are you?
I did not, Katie. I did not put a peach on your title like we were doing for somebody else later tonight.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait till he sees that on the monitor. We're having some fun for a guest that's coming in for one of the other shows this evening. So, but this is the AwesomeCast. This is where we do talk geeky things, based out of Pittsburgh, PA, for a Pittsburgh-minded. You know, I've been listening to stuff and throwing stuff on, listening to stuff while I'm, doing dishes and laundry and things like that, and realizing like everything I listen to is in California. And I know so much about what happens in California because I said something to Mitzi, who's still out there. She's coming back next week. Don't worry, everybody. But she's like, oh, we're having this and this happen. I'm like, oh yeah, I know about that. And she's like, what? It was like, you stalk me? I was like, no, I literally get all of the California news and like perspective from people that live like a half an hour from where you're at right now. So I'm very aware. But anyways, this is the tech show where we talk about, not wildfires happening every day. It's more like mild heat waves and are like, I don't know. What do we talk? What's a Pittsburgh thing to do? Everybody's staying home, so I don't even know anymore. So, but anyways, go check out everything at awesomecast.com. Please follow us on the social media, AwesomeCast on the Twitter and the AwesomeCast Facebook and group. A lot of great discussion happening over there on the Facebook group. You can subscribe and rate us on your favorite podcast app and watch the video versions on the Facebook and YouTube pages for the AwesomeCast. And, of course, we're here live every Tuesday at around 7 p.m. Eastern Time across all the YouTube, the Twitch, the Twitter, the Twitch for the Sorgatron Media. So wherever you like to see your streaming media, hopefully we're in one of those places. Also, thank you to our media partners, our friends streaming the show over the 405media.com and postindustrial.com. So go check them out on supporting some great podcast action there. And thank you to our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/awesomecast. We've changed things up. So what you get on Tuesday is a more functional show, I guess, is one way we could put it. So if you want to see the extra bits before and after we go live, those are being recorded separately and are now entirely exclusive to the Patreon supporters out there. Even not even the live stream people are getting that stuff anymore. So sorry, live stream people, but you'll get to see when I really screw up and have to edit something and then that kind of stuff because we're going live. But thank you to our supporters at the Coffee Club level, Matt Weller, John DeGore, and John Carmen, and our friends at the Fan of the Show level, Michael Fedor, pghmuseums.org, ProfessorBuzzkill.com, and our friend Dave Ponder of the Tiny Shutter Podcast. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. You guys can too at patreon.com/awesomecast. So let's get into our awesome things of the week, and I'm reading a couple of these. Katie, tell me about your awesome thing of the week. It sounds like it was a very simple thing of the week. This is where we're at this week with stuff, isn't it?
Well, so I very much I'm afraid to update my devices. I have a MacBook, I have a Mac Mini, and I have an iPhone, and I'm always afraid to update things because when you update things, things tend to go awry. So I've been very hesitant about updating my OS and all that stuff. But I decided in New Year I was going to start being more proactive in updating things. Last OS update did it. My computer, my desktop computer, my Mac Mini has been sludge. I have deleted a bunch of stuff off there, plenty of memory, no issues there, checked things, see what was running, making sure things weren't taking too much memory at one time.
What year is it?
It's probably about 8-9 years old now.
Okay, that sounds right.
Yeah. So I was like, shoot, I'm not ready to invest in a new desktop computer. I don't use it a whole ton, but like whenever I'm when I'm using Photoshop and things, when I like to have my monitor, I have my keyboard, everything's kind of set up for that. But most of the time I'm on my laptop. So I was really just like, darn it, I'm not willing to invest in something new. I hope this is an easy fix. Happened to mention that to my brother last time I was visiting, and he said, oh, my sister-in-law's computer did the same thing. And he was like, just wipe it and, back it up, wipe it, and go. And I was like, okay, sure. Which is terrifying. I am not a super, of the techie folks of the show, I am not super techie. So it's terrifying at the thought of wiping your computer. So I backed it up to the cloud. Actually, I backed it up to an external drive. I take that back. I put it on an external drive because I like my little doodad. He's got 2 terabytes. I think his name is Black Box because he's like the black box of the plane. Like he holds all of my information. So I backed it up to my little dude. And then I proceeded to wipe it, which was, several steps. I had to Google how to do it. And I was like, all right. Actually, I Googled it on my phone, so I'd have the information next to me. Went through, wiped my desktop, which was horrifying, and, waited. Everything was clear. And then, plugged in my little external hard drive, pulled, started things back up. And it pulled the backup from my external hard drive. And it was like a brand new computer. Like, I can't believe how much faster everything is running. Everything that was there was still there. Like, it was like, nothing had changed. And it was just amazing to me that it was a really easy fix that I was totally afraid of that ended up being and making a world of difference. So, yes.
It's a lot easier than it used to be. So
I've done that in the past, and it's horrifying, and all the steps and making sure you have all the things and partitions and this and that. And it's like, this was an easy solution,
so
turned out fine.
The Mac makes it easy, and I wonder how much of your stuff is, I don't know how much you make sure stuff is in like iCloud folders versus how much stuff have you bought off the App Store versus other things. Like me, I'm juggling like, okay, where's that license key from that software I bought 5 years ago in my email kind of thing. Like, but that's pretty easy for the most part. But like what kind of mix did you have there? And it was the backup on the drive like something that the installer created, or you just moved a bunch of files?
I had it did it for me. I did the Time Machine.
Okay, I see.
I did Time Machine, and then that's how I backed it up onto my external. And then when I logged back in with my Apple ID, then I pulled everything from the cloud. So I had things from here and there.
Oh yeah.
Magic.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what got me to change things like about a week ago with the studio computer here, because how long have I been running off of the same computer? That was 5-6 years ago maybe I got this thing, and it's still perfectly fine for what we do here. It just had too much. It became unstable just from years of doing stuff, right? And now it's been just utterly solid since, at least, knock on wood, the last week of using it. So no, it's kind of the time suck, isn't it? Like it's the did you do the right thing? Has enough of my stuff in the cloud? Are all my files in the place where it's probably already backed up anyways? And then just taking like, okay, do I have like a half a day to go through this, and just in case something goes at least partially sideways, right? So
well, it also gave me the confidence. My mom's phone was acting up this week and making random phone calls.
Wait, random phone calls?
Yes, it was randomly calling people. And my mom was very, in her words, embarrassed. And she called it very embarrassing. So I was like, all right, worked on my computer. Let's do it on her phone. So I backed it all up to the cloud, deleted everything, reset it. And then she hasn't said anything about it doing it. So I'm fingers crossed. I hope I fix that problem too. So I'm getting cocky.
Oh, don't get cocky.
Everything's getting upgraded.
Oh no.
Wiped and upgraded.
Every time she visits family, she's like, "You got something that needs wiped? You got something? You like scratching your neck like like yeah, you got anything? You got anything? Anything? Was that iPad running a little slow? Huh?
I can fix that for you.
I can fix that for
I
you.
can do it.
Huh? Yeah. So you know, my mom's been complaining about her iPad's been kind of rough lately, and she's not able to put much on it. She's probably due for a wipe herself too, because I think she's had that forever. It's only got like 32 gigs, and to be like, man, you only have 32 gigs as I'm downloading a 10 gigabyte Fortnite update on my phone is just wild to me. But yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, enjoy your new superpower.
Use it wisely.
Chilla, you have any superpowers to share with us this week?
So have you heard of, and stop me if we already talked about this on the show, RetroFlag?
I have not, but this looks like something I've seen at Replay.
Okay, so remember a couple weeks ago we talked about the company that was making like the systems where you could use your old Nintendo cartridges in them or Sega Genesis cartridges in them, etc.
Yeah, analog.
So this is a company that specializes in Raspberry Pi cases to make your Raspberry Pi look like other systems. So they have a Nintendo case actually for the Pi Zero and Zero W. They have one that's a Game Boy case with screen. They have one that looks like the old Sega Genesis. They sell extra controllers. I actually purchased the NES Pi case for the 3B Plus. The cool thing that I really liked about this was on the Raspberry Pi, most of the time, there's no power button. It's like you just cut the power to the device. You shut down, it says, okay, you can power off now, and then it's just like unplug the device from the wall. This actually has a shutdown button, or the power button is like a safe shutdown, and the reset's a reset button.
And I usually don't see power buttons on RetroPie cases, like or Raspberry Pi cases in general.
Yeah. They did pass through for USB. Which I thought was cool. And then they actually design, like the front of the case flips open on the older model, the one that I have, flips open and has more USB ports. So it actually has like a pass through that connects to the jumpers on the Raspberry Pi. So I just thought this was pretty darn cool. So I purchased it. The other cool one is for the newer Raspberry Pi 4. The front load actually, you can put in, it actually has a Nintendo cartridge, like an empty Nintendo cartridge, and you can put an SSD inside the Nintendo cartridge and slide that in. They offer easy access to the micro SD card slot, so it's not like you have to open back up the case to flip different SD cards. Just all around super cool way to make if you're playing around with RetroPie, a cool way to just bring some additional nostalgia to the device.
So I love, so there's actually extra electronics in this thing that are allowing that happen. It connects, it just connects into the RetroPie, and there's the on-off switch mechanics and everything will just kind of work with that. So you've been looking at that one, and I know I've seen like these cases, and I don't know if they're these ones because I'm not sure if they were the functional ones like this with the cartridge. I love that. So it's like I can load all my games on an SSD, By the way, an SSD is probably far, far more than you need to do your emulation. I think I maybe have a 32 or 16 gig card in my RetroPie, and that's plenty. So I'm looking at, and I'm trying to contemplate if I'm seeing what I think I am. I'm looking at the Game Boy case. Have you looked at this thing over here?
That's the one that goes with the Pi Zero, and I didn't have one of those, so I didn't honestly look at that one. It
appears they have this kind of wide cartridge slot kind of thing. It appears to me that your RetroPie goes into the cartridge, and then there's even the SSD goes into the cartridge itself. So you do have like that situation going on, right? It slides in, and then is this a functional screen that I'm seeing?
Yeah, that's a functional screen.
So you're creating a Raspberry Pi based mobile console. That is really interesting to me. That is fantastic. So this is $69.99, $70 for the Game Boy case, about $40 for the Nintendo case from what I'm seeing here, and all of it's going through Amazon as well. So if you're a little less buyer beware going through them versus just their own on-site kind of thing. This is going on my list. The Game Boy one myself. Chilla, damn it. Because
that's not a bad price considering you're getting the 2.8 inch
it's not gonna,
IPS screen.
It's not going to be the insanely like Apple looking build that analog device was going to be, but this kind of does. I mean, it's not going to take your cartridges, but you can grab you can grab emulation and just like throw it and just go like but then you can put your Genesis games on it, you can put your Nintendo games on it, and you have like a console mobile retro thing. Like,
yeah, I don't think you're probably on the Pi Zero or Zero W. I'm guessing you're probably not going to be able to play like N64, but you're gonna get the majority of the retro.
They barely play currently on my Raspberry Pi 3. I don't think your Zero is going to do it. But still, anything up through 16-bit, man, you're going to be pretty good, or 32X at least. Like you're going to be pretty okay for this, I think. That is awesome. Katie, are you looking at the pictures of this thing? Like this, I don't know that with your superpowers of wiping your computer. I don't know if you're ready to put together a Raspberry Pi build necessarily. If you're up, I mean, it's a lot easier than it looks probably. Is this kind of got your eye too?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is because when you, and I don't know which ones you bought, but if anyone is actually looking at messing around with the Raspberry Pi, I was not overly satisfied with the kit that I got. So I got a kit and it actually had like a knockoff Nintendo case, and it had the SD card preloaded. Building out and flashing the SD card is not, if you can wipe a device, you can flash the SD card.
The instructions are pretty simple. I mean, I usually get, like, I have a couple like this, and it's just like a simple black case for a Raspberry Pi, a can, kind of case situation. And then I have a clear one that actually had a camera kind of mount for it that came with it. But I never got it. It never worked for me. So that was kind of interesting to see. But yeah, no, they're pretty simple, and they're not like, I mean, and again, there's no power switch. It's just like, great, I don't have an exposed circuit board, right? And that's all there is to it. No, I'm not impressed with them at all, but they get the job done. But I wasn't never.
I guess so I got like a RetroPie kit that had the SD card pre-flashed. It came with a knockoff Nintendo case that is the actual front of it keeps breaking off or unclipping itself, and it came with two controllers that were kind of reminiscent of a Super Nintendo, but the build quality on the controllers was horrible to the point where they were I wish I would have just piecemealed my stuff together
Mm-hmm.
and bought the pieces that I really wanted, like this type of stuff.
No, get your controllers from like 8BitDo or something like that. Like
Yeah.
that's got to be the way to go. Don't cheap out on those because that's the whole feel of it, right? And those ones, from what I'm told, feel like the old retros. So that's awesome. So $40 for the Nintendo case, $70 for the Game Boy case with screen, and that is. I mean, you still gotta buy the. How much is a Zero? I'm not sure how much a Zero is.
I have no clue.
Like it's
It
about.
can't be that expensive.
No, it's $35 for a regular one, right? So let me see. How did I get on payment cards for Amazon? Retro Pi Zero. Those are the ones. The Zeros are the ones that they were handing out in the magazine for a period of time. Remember, Retro Pi Zero. See, as I type Retro Pi Zero, and I'm getting all the Game Boy cases and not an actual Retro Pi Zero. $20. That's it. That's a 2017 model that I see here on Amazon. $20 for the for that, and on top of a $70 all-inclusive Game Boy case and screen. That's
Zero. I'm seeing the Zero W for the Zero W has Wi-Fi, which is something you may want.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing the Zero W for $10.
Okay. We'll have to. It's probably distributors or something like that. They might. Last I knew, Zeros were hard to keep in stock, and actually some of these. So here's a RetroFlag case with the Zero for $95. With the SD cards and everything. That's actually not a bad deal. That's good. So we all have that aside as a project. My awesome thing is maybe not entirely awesome, but it's kind of a get the popcorn because I want to see what happens kind of situation. So of course, late last week, I know Amanda posted in the group, and a lot of us were posting stories and back and forth about what was going on. But we saw Epic got epic last week. They so let's start at the beginning. Epic rolled out, from what I understand, a new system for buying V-Bucks, which is the currency where you buy your outfits and stuff in Fortnite. When you talk about all the money that Fortnite's making, it's in V-Bucks typically, in season passes, of course. This circumvents your app stores, so purchasing it directly on your iPhone or your Android device, correct? And Chilla, tell me if I go off base on any of these. This, of course, immediately, I think definitely within hours, kicked Fortnite off of the App Store, and then later in the day also got them kicked off with the Google Android Store, Google Play Store, I guess, officially. Along with this, Epic rolled out a commercial, a CG in Fortnite version of the 1984 commercial trolling Apple was ready to go. And before the end of the day, there were suits filed against, I think, 60-page documents. So these were prepared against both Google and Apple for unfair practices in their app store. Of course, citing there's the 30% of transactions issue. I will also note, as this has been stated, and I think is worth being part of the discussion, that Fortnite also gives a 30% to Microsoft and Sony stores, from what I understand, for the console versions, and I'm sure it's something similar with Nintendo. But you can still, they don't care if you buy it somewhere else, as Apple and Google seem to. This has, go ahead.
What I thought was interesting is, so the way they did it was from what I saw, you had the option, you could continue. They gave you the option to buy direct. They gave your V-Bucks direct,
and there's a discount.
Yeah, but the discount's 20%. So who's pocketing the 10%?
Well, either way, I mean, I also want to contend this with, these are two companies that are all making tons of money as it is. Fortnite is like the most profitable probably video game ever at this point. That might be hyperbole, but they made a ton of money. They were making like, I don't know, $3 million a week or something like that. Something insane. Insane.
They're not scraping coins together to make the electricity bill.
They're not the little guy here, okay? But they still want to play in somebody else's backyard. And this has also led to, you know, a lot of back and forth or statements from, I think, both Apple, especially Apple, because they're very big about being clear in their statements. They fail a lot. And there has apparently been Epic has tried to go for to halt Apple because Apple has threatened to pull their development accounts, which will affect the Unreal Engine and software tools related to the Unreal Engine. And mind you, the Unreal Engine is used by a pretty good percentage of the video game community, especially on iPhone, and also including games in the Apple Arcade system. I don't know all the
I feel like they were shooting themselves in the foot on that one.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see where this ends up.
And not to mention its retaliatory practices, et cetera, et cetera. This is gonna be a shitstorm in general of legal back and forth and now granted, because I went to check and I haven't booted it up to play it, but I did boot up to get my 10 gigabyte download, so I could potentially play Fortnite again. If it's on your phone or if you downloaded it previously, you're still good. You can still get it. You still have rights to that. But if you're a
until
the
next major like Fortnite update.
Well, all their updates they do in the background. It depends on what.
No, they still do like every. It seems like every season or so there is an actual like App Store update.
I feel like they may fix that or something, so that I mean. You're giving me 10 gigs of data. It has to do something, right? It's really just a bunch of llama and pinatas, isn't it? But so this is interesting. I have not been so intrigued by a legal battle for a while. That didn't include a pro wrestler, and it's more exciting than trademark battles and patent battles that we usually hear about in the tech news. So Chilla, Katie, you know, what do you guys think of this back and forth that's happening? I can't tell you who I'm terribly behind on this one. I just want to see how it all shakes out and how it's going to affect other things.
I think in the long term it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt both of them. I don't know who's going to come out on top and who's going to come out on bottom. Where I think it's really what I think, and if we've seen anything, you know, court cases can drone on and on and on. Where I think this is really going to hurt is if they actually do follow through and get rid of the Unreal Engine. Numerous developers are going to be upset. Mm-hmm. And where I think it'll get really interesting is when Fortnite stops working and they can't update the app. I think people, the rest of the world has kind of not retaliated because they're still getting their Fortnite. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The other thing I would say is I'm guessing Epic has done their homework to figure out where their largest amounts of revenue are from, whether it's from iOS, Android, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, etc. So I would think they would have done their homework to make sure that they're not potentially losing their largest revenue generator platforms. So I think time will tell. This isn't going to not hurt them if they can't continue to garner the money from those platforms. But I'm guessing they seem to have had this all thought out well in advance, from even beyond, you know, the video poking fun at 1984. I'll be interested to see how Apple plays along. Do they play into their hand? Do they figure out a way around it? Where this all lands, again, I think it's going to hurt both of them in the long run. But we'll see who flinches first.
Katie, have you been following this? It feels like it's kind of everywhere for everybody. So, you know, it's kind of hard to miss in the tech news world.
I like to echo what Chilla says. I'm not sure who's going to win this guy because it's too much. It's a big thing, and just the trickle down of things that it could impact is kind of it. Because we don't think about. It always surprises me when the trickle down happens, like of when stuff like this is decided, and then you see the impact, and it's like, oh, geez, like with the dominoes.
You don't know if is this just going to lead to deals with bigger companies that are, bringing in more money like they are, or, which I think is something that already happens in the publishing world when it comes to Apple, Apple News, Apple News and Apple News Plus. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, Epic feels big enough to be picking a fight right now. And of course, it's also well-timed considering we have a lot of antitrust discussions happening in the government. They just, went to Washington a couple of weeks ago. So, it'll be interesting with that. Chilla, you're going to say something?
Yeah, well, the other thing that surprised me, and I've seen some other gaming vendors that have their own virtual money do this. So you can, from my understanding, and I'm not a developer, you can get a portion of that percentage back if you move to subscription models. So what I've seen some of them do is
it steps down, right?
Yeah, I think it steps down to 20% after year one.
Yeah.
So what I've seen a couple of the other ones do is you can actually purchase a subscription to coins and funds, where you pay whatever it is, $4.99 a month, and you'll get 500 V-Bucks or whatever game you're playing. You'll get 500 of those coins per month on a monthly basis. So I'm sure they're getting back their 10% as long as their people keep their subscriptions up. Why Fortnite didn't go after this model is beyond me, because if you could, every kid in the world is just going to ask their parents for a monetary, migrate my allowance into V-Bucks and let's call it a day, Mom.
That's what I kept thinking when you were describing that. It's like it's a V-Bucks allowance, and we're using V-Bucks as an example here, but yeah, it's what it would be.
So I'm surprised they didn't go after that model. The other thing that I really don't understand is why they're not going after the Microsofts and the Sonys and everybody else. Or is this just step one in their video game world domination tour?
It might be. Also, I think there's an argument that when you're on something like an Xbox, PlayStation thing, there's a lot of DRM that goes along with that as well. So those platforms are inherently closed and different to begin with, versus we talk about our phones, I think we're interpreting them more as computer devices. And that's where you challenge. It's kind of like if your Mac, decided, hey, you can only go through the Mac store and I got to charge 30% for everything, versus like the Downy app that we were talking about last week, which by the way I'm about to buy now. Like that they can decide not to and not be beholden, right? Like if there was an option to sideload on my iPhone, and and I can still do my Fortnite xCloud kind of situation without Apple chiming in. But then again, you can do that on Google. Google, they're bad at Google also, because it was revealed that Google forced OnePlus to decimate a Fortnite launcher deal that would have come pre-installed on their phones, it seems. So like there's more to this than just the on the surface percentage getting my cut kind of situation. Like there's some other, I think some relationship business practices that are under fire as a part of this.
Because remember on the, and I can't remember which Samsung Galaxy device it was. I think it was one of the Notes. It was one of them where they had, Google wasn't letting them into the store, and they launched first in the Samsung store, and then you got a limited edition skin. You got the Galaxy skin that everyone was going into Best Buys and whatnot and logging in with their Epic accounts so they could unlock the skin.
And there was a side load. There was a slide load option.
It was that's how that was done. It was side loaded.
For the rest of the Android people that didn't have a Samsung, you could completely just do that too. And that's another thing to look at. Like Google does have a Samsung store. Other Android devices have their own store. So I mean that's a thing that does exist. You can download things from an Amazon store, and that just doesn't exist on Apple. I kind of wish the option was maybe there, just to see what other interesting things can happen. But that's the way they've of course chosen to do this, and that's what's kind of under fire right now. So. Well, you know what's not under fire is some good pizza and some good friends that support us here on this show. Our good friends at Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcast with the perfect pepperoni pizza, and they've been doing very well during these times. They've been just as busy as ever, and I'm glad to see that everybody has been supporting them during these weird times. Not all the restaurants are doing great right now. So please go check them out. Our friends SliceOnBroadway.com. Now, temporarily, 3 locations here in the Pittsburgh area, here in Beechview, Carnegie, and the East End. I know some people out there have been enjoying, especially that East End location that we chat with on the Slack from time to time. So go check them out, and thank you to them for supporting the show. All right, we have, so of course, as we go day to day, and I know when I go out and about, one of the reasons I don't go a lot of places is I don't like going into a store where a lot of people are not taking care of the mask thing. The mask policies are not being enforced very well. Like that's a big stress point for me. And Potter shared something that may be a partial solve of this thing. I don't know if you guys had a chance to check out this video, but somebody wanted to resolve this with a mask gun that they developed to kind of help out with something like this. It is, by the way, it looks like it was made out of a lot of the same materials as the Nintendo Switch cardboard situation. It has, I don't know what they are. They honestly kind of look like shell casings on each side, and it's on your 4 corners of the mask. And they're testing this on a mannequin head. God, I don't think they actually shot this at somebody's face. And the heavy points will wrap it around the head so the mask will affix perfectly on your face. It gets pretty wild, and it looks like they went to a boardwalk to kind of test this thing out too. So let me see if I can show the one of the successful, and that head looks like it's been through a lot, and it goes right on just like that for you guys on video. At a point, he's talking to some people at the beach, and he's asked, if you're going in a Walmart or something, would you, and you see somebody not wearing their mask, would you use this on them? And it was like, somebody is like, yes, isn't it my Second Amendment right to protect myself? Was kind of the best line out of this. A little bit of maker fun going on there. But there's some more of them. Oh, this is everybody else testing it out. Jeez. Oh, there's some good slow-mos in this video as well. We'll have that shared in the show notes if you want to watch the full video, or if you're with us on the audio version and want to see this as well. So, Katie, Chilla, you take a look at this video. Have any thoughts on it?
This just has bad, dangerous.
Oh yeah, it's dangerous as all hell. Just call it 1.0. Okay.
Like, I can't imagine. I don't know. Like, we're all from areas that if you shot this at somebody, they're returning fire with something else.
Yes, they will. I'm afraid to take this up to Mercer County with me, and they're like they just see a weapon drawn on them and be like, what is happening right now? And they're carrying. So in Walmart. So I wouldn't try it. So jeez. This is Alan Pan. Sufficiently Advanced is the YouTube account that I have just subscribed to, because I'm sure there's some more fun stuff that's going on in there. So, oh geez, I've been saying since the beginning, the people that will do well are the ones that can adapt, and this guy's trying. So, let's get to some other stories here. What else we got? Chilla, you have to be having an eye on Microsoft's first ever Android phone, the Surface Duo, that it was apparently announced last week.
It's a little pricey.
It's only $1,500. Come on, you have an iPhone. That's what.
Here's, I guess, and I'm going to be completely unfair.
You're allowed to be. It's a podcast.
There are certain expectations I have in the Android world, and I am not. I mean, I have 2 iOS devices and 2 Android devices sitting right in front of me at this very moment.
Yes, but do any of them fold?
None of them. I have like I have a case that folds.
That doesn't count.
But no, none of my. Hopefully that still works. Yep.
It used to fold.
It used to fold. No, none of mine fold. Where I feel like at the $1,500 or $1,400 price point, I feel like I shouldn't be getting a generation back on the chip with the Qualcomm Snapdragon processor, and I should get a micro SD card slot.
Okay.
That's where I feel like this device to me fell a little short. I was happy to see that they are guaranteeing 3 years of updates. So that did make me happy, because one of the things that I do often have concerns with, which is why I will only buy a handful of manufacturers' devices.
It's one of the reasons why I typically don't recommend Android, is the issues with updates. So I mean, I have a 5S that is just just behind the curve on updates. So yeah. Katie, I know you have departed from the Android side for a while, but the prospect of this as maybe a secondary or even what do you think of this one?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I have been rewatching Scrubs on Hulu.
Okay.
And this is the perfect device for that.
What, during this show? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, so I'm watching Scrubs right now. So I'm catching up. I've never watched all of Scrubs, when it was on, and it's very. So I've been watching that, and we're at the point. It's the early 2000s. We're flip phones. We're at flip phone stage, and if I'm gonna get something that folds, I want to be able to shut it and close and hang up on people again. Like that's.
You want that satisfying clap of the phone as it hangs up. And that's why we're not taking the deal. Clip. Yes. And
you do not realize how badly you miss it until you watch it in shows. I've been watching several seasons of shows that have I've been watching other shows from this time, and the whole closing the phone. It's like, oh man, I miss that satisfying of the whole thing. So if I'm going to pay a lot of money for a phone to fold and to flip, shut, I want to be able to flip it shut.
So you need, and I don't know, this function has to be part of it, the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip that is, I think, currently available from the looks of it. So I'm seeing it on a Best Buy site, because that does it's the vertical fold, right? Like your flip phone. That's the whole point, I think, of it. So if there's anything that'll do that, that'll
for the 1% of us still watching shows from the early 2000s.
Exactly.
Missing the flip phone.
You know what? I don't know if I mentioned a few weeks ago, but I was watching a few movies, and one was from 2012, one was from 2010, and both of them they had whatever era iPhone, Android, something, right? And this guy is high roller, big business guy, and he's holding a tiny original iPhone. And it's just it feels so today, where it's oh no, you get the giant ass, this thing covers my face if I wanted to, especially, if you're a tiny lady social media influencer where you just like can hide behind it. But it's kind of amazing how far we've gone with something like this. So you need to flip iPhone so you can hang up on everybody like Scrubs. Got it. That's what we've learned today.
Exactly.
We've been rewatching Veronica Mars, and I'm totally jealous of her Sidekick.
Oh yes. Oh, would she do the flip motion? to
I haven't. I don't know if I've noticed her do the flip motion, but just I can tell that's what device she's using, and I'm like, oh. The other thing that surprised me about this is it's single camera, 11 megapixel. Like, again, I'm paying how much for? I get it. I get a second screen, but I feel like I'm giving up some stuff.
this is
as
first.
well.
This is first. Obviously, this is first.
First gen.
First gen kind of things. So.
And then the other part of it is it's more area for me to break.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is where I'm at now.
How does your OtterBox case wrap around that thing, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, it has a bump. Don't they come with bumpers?
Do they?
Or is the bumper extra?
Chilla, what were we talking about before the show about how I completely dropped my phone like flat on its front or back to the point where it needs to restart so hard. Like let's just have a giant thing of glass. Have you seen the case on my iPad Pro? Like, I made sure it's as tank-like as possible. Yeah.
I have OtterBoxes on most of the iPads.
I got my original iPad. I was so worried about it, and I dropped it on the concrete floor in the old studio, like, first week. It was okay, because they built those things like... It had like a half inch of bezel to protect everything. But I miss that. I miss you, bezel. Anyways, so let's see what else we've got here. Chilla. I'm not sure I like this, but I don't know why is your headline for this one. Oh, yeah, I was looking at this.
So Facebook, and this is why I don't know why this makes me uncomfortable. Facebook, if you are an Oculus headset owner, for any like the standalone type devices, you will be required to merge your Oculus account with your Facebook account.
I feel like I have already.
So I haven't. I'm still using like an Oculus account that's just under my Gmail. Why I don't understand why I'm not comfortable with this is Facebook owns Oculus. If they want any of the data of how, when, whatever I use with the Oculus, obviously they have access to it.
But now it's more directly. Now
I feel like I'm getting the big F in the face. F is for Facebook.
Okay, F is for Facebook. Show title. So I other than like, are you doing anything on, and some maybe doing it on your VR, something you don't want them to know?
No.
But, which is any different than your browser doing the same thing, right? Like, it doesn't even matter. You know,
yeah, like I would not own a portal, and I would not, if Facebook made a browser, I would not use it.
But you're gonna put the Facebook on your face.
But I'm gonna put the Facebook on my face. I don't know. It's just something that makes me. I don't know why I'm so.
It's too close to like a very like. It's the proximity to your brain, isn't it? Like it's
like if you had an option on your Xbox or PlayStation to add the Facebook add-on that broadcast, every game that you're playing to your timeline.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. Like,
yeah.
That's where I feel like I guess maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
What's next? Is everything I do on the device going to show up on my timeline?
Or did you watch that last season of Supergirl where they basically had an Oculus situation, but then that like helped, then everybody got stuck in it and then they couldn't get out? Are you worried that Mark's going to absorb you into the Facebook VR and he can't get out because it's too real?
It'll be like a face hugger.
Yeah. Katie, following the social media, are you as bothered by Facebook getting in your face like this?
I think we're all just like so over Facebook wanting to be in everything that we're just all getting very uncomfortable with. I just feel like I keep overstepping their bounds. Like, what's going to be the limit where we're like, we're done? Yeah,
absolutely. It's still not outside the realm because it's, like I said, it's been a Facebook product for a while, but it's like now it's kind of a reminder of, oh no, this is really a Facebook product. Oh no, here we go. So I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of it also is like, what kind of additional information are they trying to get? that like Chilla said, like they already should have, but like is there's just something else that they don't have access to that they want about us, that they need to know about us, or
That's
the other thing.
Yeah, but it also still with just thinking of things you can do on an Oculus, like I don't know how personal that can be, like more so, because it's mostly watching movies and games for the most part, right? And I don't know.
Doesn't the Quest have cameras built into the front end of it?
Okay, well, maybe I know like things like the Vive does, like the so I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's that unfunction. It's got to be that proximity. Katie, what is Netflix going to do that I'm testing out this weekend?
So you have to do it on your television.
Okay.
Sounds like.
Okay.
But when you log in, underneath your name, it should say something called Shuffle Play. So they're going to be able to, like, if you're like, hey, I want to watch Netflix, but I don't know what I want to watch. If you do Shuffle Play, Netflix will suggest something to you. It'll play something random that they think you'll like.
So this is like.
Oh, that's not going to work.
So this is like when I have the My Mix on my YouTube Music, and I say no. Okay.
I love it, and I love this article from TechCrunch because it has a lot of tweets from folks. Their opinions, like my TV has a Netflix Shuffle Play option. This is the definition of chaotic evil.
So what I'm interested too, like, if I'm watching if it selects a series of something, is it going to start playing season by season, or am I going to get one episode of Lucifer followed by one episode of New Girl? Like what?
I hope that you can pick movie or series, right? Like I hope, maybe.
Well, someone had said that they had tried it and it suggested Modern Family from the start, and they had already watched 9 seasons back in 2018 already. So they might, I don't know. So I'm curious to see. I want to do it because my Netflix viewing is not as broad as a lot of folks' Netflix viewing. Let's see what it suggests.
On that note, you need to watch Speedcubers, because it's probably been put in your face the last couple of weeks, and it is delightful and only 40 minutes. And if you are interested or know somebody or have a child with autism, there's an autism angle on there that's very very, very nice, and you'll probably cry. So just gonna throw that out there because everybody's been talking. It's like the low key Tiger King that's been going around lately. So
have you ever watched In the Dark on Netflix?
No.
It's the blind woman that kind of finds herself in the middle of a murder investigation.
Oh, that sounds.
Oh, I highly, highly, highly recommend In the Dark. Okay. That's a good one.
Project Power was the new movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Jamie Foxx last week, and it's like this is a good Netflix movie. It was it was good. It was good, and it's kind of super powery, not superhero-y, but super powery kind of situation. So it was kind of fun. So. Katie, I have recommendations for you because you have a Nintendo Switch. Actually, both of you have a Nintendo Switch. So there are some games. Apparently, there's some Nintendo Switch game announcements today, and a couple of them caught my eye because they're things that I've been playing on other platforms. So I want to give a shout out and recommendation to you guys, and let me know if you jump down any of these rabbit holes for me. First of all, Untitled Goose Game is coming to the Switch. Katie,
I have not played that one, and it's coming with they're coming out with a co-op mode too, right?
Co-op version happening. Somebody, there was a wrestler in one of my chats, says, anybody going to play co-op with me? Nobody? I'll just goose by myself then. Katie, this is right up your alley. I don't know if you've seen any videos from this game.
Yes, this looks amazing.
Mm-hmm. It's like you basically the premise is you are a goose, and your purpose is to be the most asshole goose ever. This whole sequence they're showing here where you just terrorize a gardener is great. Oh, and you can be a second goose that also terrorizes them with you. Oh, this is so great. This is going to be so much team building exercise with Missy when she comes back. This is great. Definitely recommended. But no, it's full of whimsy and it's fantastic. The other game that is coming to Switch, I have been playing this nonstop. This has been my go-to Apple Arcade game since it launched. It's called Grindstone. It's a puzzle game, but it's also the most violent puzzle game I've ever played. Because the entire thing is you are this, I don't know, this barbarian blue guy and with a sword, and there's these monsters you're surrounded by, and you need to cut a path through the monsters based on them being the same color for some inexplicable reason, and chain it together, and you get, like coins and stuff, and collect items and have bigger bosses and things like that. It's become about as addicting as like my Dr. Mario worlds and games like that, and they actually even just started a daily grind. So it's great because it feels like all those games that are like the freemium kind of situation, but it's not freemium because it's a Apple Arcade, Nintendo Switch kind of game, right? So highly recommended, and I was plenty excited when I keep forgetting that I have these games also on the Apple TV, and it's also great playing like on a TV that way as well, not just the vertical iPhone kind of version. So highly recommend both those games. I'm sure they're going to be, I don't know, $10-15 or something like that when they come out here. So, but that's part of, what's that?
Goose Game's $20.
Is it $20?
Yeah.
I have it on I have it on Game Pass. So Chilla, you should. Well, you're on Game Pass, aren't you? No, you didn't.
No, I'm not. Right. I actually have. So I have and I probably actually, this is going to be sad. I probably won't get around to using it until like Christmas time when I have like a good break off of work. Mm-hmm. I have a 3-month free subscription
no
code
way.
that I'm not willing to cash in because I know right now with the way work is, I'm not going to get my money. Like I'm not going to get to play. And my thought process is maybe at Christmas time, the X-Wing game will be out and be in there. And then I will actually play the heck out of that. And I would probably get one of the Thrustmaster joysticks, like to leverage. The issue is I'm also torn. Will this be my foray into PlayStation Online because you're going to be able to play in VR? So if I can play the X-Wing game in VR with like a Thrustmaster joystick, oh, the fun I will have.
Why do you have an entire like cockpit in your office room?
Yes.
There. And then you got that Thrustmaster. They're supposed to be dropping a Flight Simulator on Xbox as well.
Yeah, I'm not that. I would rather play like there was the some Aces game that looked pretty cool. It looked like it would be fun too. I'm not the Microsoft Flight Simulator was never one of my big.
So my goal is to keep showing you games from Game Pass to make you cash in that Game Pass early now.
Maybe Thanksgiving.
Red Dead Redemption. It is something else so far. So, and I never played the first one, so they have the second one on there. It's been good. I didn't jump into the online where apparently the animals killed everybody. They fixed that, by the way, because I think we talked about it here on the show. So, anyways, I think it's enough stories for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Chilla is at Chilla on the Twitter. You can also try to convince him to cash in his Game Pass over there as well.
Tweet me your gamer tag and a reason why I should cash in my pass before Thanksgiving.
So you can play Untitled Goose Game with me, and we can terrorize the gardener together.
Okay, maybe.
See,
I'll think about it.
You'll think about it. Or you get it on.
Is Goose Game crossplay? Can I play it from my Switch with you on the Xbox?
I don't know. That was another question. But if Katie gets it, then you guys can goose together.
We can goose together.
Yes,
I think aren't they supposed to have like some kind of indie release thing tomorrow? They're doing like 20 minutes of indie games.
For which?
Nintendo.
For Nintendo, I think that's the thing from today.
Oh, is that from today? Yeah, I was reading old news.
That's what I was. The headline that I have is the 9 biggest announcements from today's Nintendo Indie World Showcase over on The Verge, not by Kim Lyons. Speaking of, Kim Lyons will be here next week to join us. with her journalistic integrity. So it's good to have that here sometime. So Katie Dudas on the tweets, on the Instagrams, all the Katie places.
PGH.
Kate Marie PGH over there. Anything exciting happening? Just healing up good?
Yep. Taking it easy. Slow road, but getting better.
Fantastic. So thank you, everybody, for joining us at Sorgatron on the Twitter for all my things, and that's my gamer tag as well. Why not? I never mentioned my own Twitter on here, I realize. So thank you, everybody, for joining us live and checking us out after the fact. Please join us live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Tuesday if you want to hop in the chat room on whatever platform that is. We are keeping an eye on all those chat rooms for you. And we'll see you guys next time. This has been you have been our awesome audience. Ha! Have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.